started. So again, thank you very much, everyone, for joining. We've got a super exciting webinar for everyone today. I'll go through some of the housekeeping for the webinar, and then we'll get stuck into the introductions. Could we just quickly jump into the next slide, Andrew? So we're going to spend maybe the first 15 or 20 minutes going through the ShiftCare Cloud Assess ShiftCare Academy. And I hope and would really love for a lot of crowd participation in this. The way that we do that is, can you please post all of your questions in the Q&A function? It just allows us to manage those really effectively. There is a chat function in there. And so we're more than happy to have conversations with you in there, but please put all your Q&A into the Zoom Q&A function. And then that just helps us collate them at the end as well. If you do have any colleagues that are going to be interested in seeing this but haven't been able to make this time slot, it will be recorded. So we will send this out after the webinar has completed. So don't fret, you won't miss out on anything. But yeah, we can just want to make sure that everyone's got their questions posted into the Q&A function. So awesome, thanks Andrew. Just jump onto the next slide. So I'll just go through some introductions for us. So my name is Neil Jamieson. I'm the Sales Operations Manager here at ShiftCare. We've also got Lynley, who is Head of Partnerships from Cloud Assess, and Andrew, who is the CTO at Cloud Assess. We've also got Ian, Matthew, and Quiver manning the Q&A from ShiftCare as well. So a bit of a full house here. So jump across to the next slide, please. So the agenda for today is welcome and intro to Cloud Assess. Cloud Assess is part of the ShiftCare family, and I'll pass over to Lynley in a moment to go through and talk about Cloud Assess as an organisation. We're going to cover off the relationship between Cloud Assess and ShiftCare, the courses that we're providing, and the packages, and then Andrew is going to run through a live demo, and then we'll have a Q&A session at the end. So Andrew, just jump onto the next slide, and Lynley, I'll pass over to you to do an intro to the Cloud Assess team.
Hi everyone, lovely to be here today. We're super excited. As Neil said, my name's Lynley Hukins and I head up the partnerships at Cloud Assess. So today we're just going to show you what we've been working really hard with ShiftCare on in the last couple of months, and we're really excited to go to market. So you're getting an exclusive view. You're the first to see it today, so thank you for jumping on the webinar. That'll also give you the first opportunity to access with it, so we're super excited to go through it with you today. Just by way of background, Cloud Assess, we're a learning and training technology company. So we've won loads of awards. We come from a background of training and learning, and we were founded in Queensland about 13, 14 years ago. So we're a very proud Australian company. We support all of our clients out of our Australian offices. What we do is we provide free and paid content, and that's part of what we will be showing you today that is specific to your industries. And then we have built a learning platform which enables real-time training and assessment in the flow of work. So what that means is that we work with a lot of industries like yourselves that have high compliance requirements, but need to be able to do their training at work and assess at work on any sort of device, just so similar to ShiftCare and what they do with their device management. So as I said, we've built locally, we're supported locally. We work with hundreds of clients in the healthcare sector, aged care, and so that's why the partnership makes sense with who ShiftCare also focus on. Next slide maybe. Thank you, Andrew. So just a little bit about the collaboration with ShiftCare. we are pretty much a brother and sister relationship where we have similar parents and an ownership structure. So we very much work. I'm in the ShiftCare office all the time. We work as one family. We have brought that into how the tool works. The tool will work as one tool. We have built a custom-made integration with ShiftCare, and it will very much be the ShiftCare learning journey powered by Cloud Assess as the experts behind it, but your user experience will not feel like two different systems. We've ensured that there is a great integration and that it will be very much the ShiftCare learning journey for your users. And I will be quiet now. I'll be around for plenty of questions and answer any of your questions towards the ends of the sessions about more about Cloud Assess or learning or the system. But I think it's really helpful to always have a look at it. So I'll hand to you, Andrew, now so that you can show people the tool.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Lynley. I might just jump in there,
Oh,
Andrew.
sorry, Neil.
No worries at all. Yeah. Thank you so much, Lynley, and everyone, as Lynley said, we're really excited about this. There's been a huge amount of feedback. People have been requesting an LMS and the ability to help people stay compliant and have that flow through and permeate into the ShiftCare platform. So this is something that's been really excited, and this is by the attendees of the webinars today. This is one of the biggest turnouts that we've had. So again, really excited. I want to just talk about the offerings and the solution that we're going to be provided before Andrew jumps in there. So there's going to be 3 versions or tiers of what we're offering. So first of all, we're going to have 3 courses that are part of ShiftCare Academy, which is going to be free for all to access. So everyone here on this webinar will be able to access those, as well as everyone within the industry. So we want to give back and sort of provide there. And so, and they're really relevant courses to especially to the NDIS space. So really excited to be able to offer those to everyone. And then the next level up is ShiftCare training. So this is the sort of core module of what we're going to be offering and talking about today. And this is a ShiftCare learning system built into the platform. It offers all of the courses that we've developed, currently at 24, with more to be added as we're going along. And this is built into the ShiftCare system. So everyone here, either as frontline workers, will be able to access those courses, complete those courses both within a desktop, but also on the mobile. We know that that's a really big part of it. And everyone will be able to do the courses, get upskilled, get the badges, get the qualifications. It means that they can continue their work and stay compliant. Now, those of you who are managing these frontline workers and teams, you will also be able to see everything from progress in courses, people's qualifications, and that is going to feed through into the ShiftCare skills matrix or document function, so that you'll be able to see which part, who of your workforce is qualified, whose certificates are still in date. And so, yeah, so that's the core function and what we're going to talk about a lot today. And then the last part is ShiftCare Learning, which is essentially the full LMS. So that is everything that you can encompass around that LMS. And I'll probably pass back to Lynley to talk a little bit more about that towards the end of the webinar. But yeah, we've got these 3 tiers that we're offering. Super excited about this. Now, the release date for this, because I know that's going to be something that everyone will be asking. We are aiming to release this at the end of April. So at the end of the webinar and in the chat, Cleaver's going to post a waitlist form. So we just want to get everyone that's interested in this to post their interest in the wait form, and then we will reach out to you all as soon as this is released, which will be the last week of April. So awesome. Thank you very much, Andrew. I will pass over to you to show us the goods.
Great, thank you. Thanks, guys. Yeah, today I'll just take you through very quickly. There we go. I've got to, excuse me 1 second. That presentation does not like exiting full screen mode. And we're back. You guys still see my screen okay? Great. Great start.
All good.
Okay, so I'll take you through a few elements today. There is a lot to see. I'll try to go through it reasonably quickly because I know there's going to be a lot of questions at the end. But I'll try to get as much detail in there as I can. So if we just start with on the right-hand side here, there will be a path, and we'll talk a bit more about integration where ShiftCare will be linking into Cloud Assess. But part of that, the start of that process is creation of your own Cloud Assess account fully linked into ShiftCare. So to do this is a simple form-based, and we're creating an account. It is going to create your own private account within Cloud Assess. It's going to download the courses, and it's going to configure everything ready to go so that when you get into the system, you simply need to just start enrolling people. So that's the first screen on the right hand side there. Like all good chefs, on the left is one I prepared earlier. So once you've filled in that form and created your organization, has downloaded the content, you'll be directed straight to this page on the left hand side. And this left hand side is 2 courses effectively that have been pre-configured, ready to go, ready to enroll. So these have been split into, there's some NDIS core training, and there's 7 modules within that, and there's some other safe work practices. There's another 17 modules in that course as well. So I'll come back to that just in 1 second, but just to give you a flavour for the modules that are within those, if we look at, say, in the NDIS core training, we've got things like an overview of NDIS, a core code of conduct, practices, practice standards, etc. And the other one, we've got various things such as risk management, hazardous manual tasks, various different modules within that space as well. So we'll jump back here to our courses, and I'll just go into the first one. Now, you'll see a list of people we've already added here as learners, and we'll come back to that in a second. But we'll just talk firstly about how you're going to be adding learners and enrolling them. So, as Neil mentioned, and Lynley mentioned, there's an integration between ShiftCare and Cloud Assess. So when you're on this page and ready to enroll people and start them in these courses, you're simply going to have a drop down here, and you can search for your users, and those users would have automatically come across from ShiftCare into the platform. So I can just search for those users, and I can do multiple at once. So I could get 10 different staff members at once I want to enroll in this course. There is the ability to add learners manually, but with the ShiftCare integration, that won't be required. You'll simply be picking from existing users. So I pick my learners I want to enroll into this particular course. And then we make it super simple for you here to get going. So there's some defaults here where we're automatically going to activate the enrollments. We're going to activate the users, so they'll get a notification email that will invite them to that course. And you can select to enroll them in all of those 7 modules. Whereas we may choose to not do that, and you could do individually. But for the purpose of get going quickly, with all those defaults, we can click confirm, and we're done. Learners are going to get invitations to start working through that content. So what does that look like from the learner's perspective? So from a learner's perspective, they're going to get a notification, like I said, and then they'll be able to enter the training here. So on the right-hand side here is what the learner sees. They'll see the course that they're enrolled in here, so the NDIS core training. They'll have a to-do list. So this will be the different modules that they have there ready to complete. And badges, etc. we'll come back to once we've worked through this process. But very simple, super clean and easy interface for them to follow. I'll pick this first module here, module 4. And we just simply click on the first tile, and we're straight into the course, ready to work through it. So just a quick word on this course here. You'll see down the bottom here, we've got validated by Intercare training. I'm sure a question that will come up later is, where does the content come from? So the content that's provided as part of this is validated by Intercare training. who are an RTO. They've been a customer of Cloud Assessors for over 10 years. They offer certificates and diplomas in the vocational training space to do with aged care, disability care, etc. So they're really the experts in the field with creating content in this space. So we can work through the content here as the learner. There's the various interactive, there's obviously text and images, there's various different interactions of content here. There'll be an overview of what they're going to learn in the module. And they can work through each of these sections and consume each of the knowledge, the various different tabs, etc., of information, interactive elements. Ultimately, at the end of each of some of these sections, there'll be little quick quizzes. So there'll be quizzes on the content within those sections, and they'll be asked to answer those. Work through each of the modules. I won't go through all of it now. We'll use up too much time. And then at the end, there'll be a knowledge check, which will be, again, another series of questions about the content within this course. And these are all set up to auto mark, so there's no need for you to go in and manually mark any of these. They'll all be auto marked. Once the learners finish working through that, they can then submit this module, and they're done. So again, I'll jump back to something that's been prepared earlier. Once I've finished this module as a learner, if completed satisfactorily, I'll receive a badge for completion of that module. So this badge will be available within my badges section. Now with these badges, just a few things about them. They are based upon a standard called Open Badges. So there is a lot of information and protection around these badges. They're not just simply an image that gets generated that someone can copy. The other thing is that these badges live beyond the life of their account here. So a learner forever can come back and log in here and access their badges. So if they were to move somewhere else or whatever, they won't lose their badges. They're available to them here all the time. So these badges, the organisation I created on the left, it's called ABC Aged Care, my great imagination there. And these badges I can then share in various ways. Just to preview the badge and what it looks like, this is, if I've shared the badge, it's a public page, so someone can come and check the validity of this badge. They'll be able to see when it was issued, who it was issued by, ABC Aged Care in this case, and it was provided on the platform from Cloud Assess. The learners can download that badge, they can copy a link to it. They can also share that to LinkedIn. So they can share that badge and it becomes a badge within their LinkedIn profile. It's linked here to Cloud Assess only because that's why I've set this demo up, but this would actually be your organization. So it's great publicity for yourself as well, having your staff, and they'll be sharing these badges that they've achieved working within your organization. So that's badges. So it's super quick run through of the learner experience, but you can see how easy it was from hitting a dashboard, one button, I'm in there, work through it, submit it, bang, I've got a badge. If we then jump back through to the administrative side of things, we'll go back to our course here and our participants. So I'll have a list of everyone that I've got enrolled within this course. I can see their progress through it, how many modules they've completed and they have in progress. I can get a few more details drilling into those courses. There's other views. I can jump fully into that enrollment and get further details and interactions. We won't do that just today. But one of the more powerful views that you're going to use here most likely is the matrix view. Now, this view is going to give me a view of all of my learners enrolled on this course and across the top of the modules, and I can clearly see who has started, has in progress, or has satisfactorily completed any of those modules. So great visual for us to see where the gaps are and assess where students are in terms of their progress. Jumping along further, we do have a report section as well. These will be pre-configured reports in there, but additional can be created. These reports, this one's very similar to the skills matrix, the matrix that we saw previously, but within the report section, we can cut and slice and filter that information in various different ways. So if we're grouping people in job roles or org structures and things like that, we can, or teams, we can cut and slice and see those people and get reports on those specific areas within your business. Moving from there, I know I'm moving very quickly. I'll just jump to the dashboard quickly, just to give an overview of what you'll see at a high level. We'll start with the easy ones. Bottom right here will be just information about your organization. So there'll be contact details for your organization. If we move along to the learners last seen, this is like an engagement sort of tool. So within here, we'll highlight to you any learners that haven't been within the system within the last 1 or 2 months or 2 or 3 months, so that we can give them a bit of a nudge to get back into the system and keep working on their training. So we're just trying to keep people engaged and keep working through their content. The invitations, yes, if we've invited people to participate in the learning, we'll be able to see who has not accepted their invitation, and we can resend those invitations. We'll move on from there. We haven't in these examples set due dates on the activities, but it is possible to set due dates on activities and ask them to complete them by certain due dates. So we'll get ability here to see, right, which ones are overdue or which are coming up in the next month, etc. So we can have more visibility as to how people are progressing. And the learner will see those due dates reflected within their interface as well. I'll go very quickly over these top two. The way these courses are set up at the moment, like I said, they're auto-marked. So they're knowledge with quizzes, they're going to be auto-marked and the learner can progress themselves. There's no need for any manual marking or anything like that. Within Cloud Assessor, we can create various different activity types, whether they're observational assessments, practicals, that aren't just auto-marked quizzes. They might require people to upload evidence of their competency and things like that. So there's various different workflows we have there so that people can submit these activities and they'll appear in to-do lists for the assessors and the admin teams to actually work through and mark, as well as abilities to put quality checks on all of those so we can sample things that we want to quality check for those. So I'm rushing through those at the moment because that's probably more, Lynley can put more color to that when she talks full product. But for the purpose of these courses, yes, they'll all be auto-marked so that these are less relevant in this case. The last bit I'll jump to before I hand back over is just the users section. So here's going to be a list of all your staff. Like we said, there's going to be a integration in place, so these users will automatically come across. You don't need to manually create them. But within these users section, we can see the profile of our users. One of the really handy tools that we have in here that gets used a lot is the ability for you as an admin to see what the learner sees on their end. So if we're having a staff member that's having some trouble, needs some support, and they might not be in the same office as you, as an admin, you could view this in the learner app, and I'm now viewing this as the learner would see it in their application. So it helps me support that learner and guide them through and give them some advice as to how to use the system, because I can see what they can see. There's various information here. I can see the modules they're enrolled in, the progress, the enrollments they're enrolled in. Perhaps one of the most powerful things that we'll have in here is the timeline. And this is throughout the whole Cloud Assess platform, whether it's on an individual record or activity or on a learner's profile. We can see a timeline of everything they've done within the platform. So we can see when they've accepted their invitation, when they've opened records, when they've saved records, when they've submitted them, when records have been marked, when they've logged in, password resets, the lot. So it's a really good tool to have an audit trail of what that learner has done within the platform, both from a support perspective, but a compliance perspective as well. In the RTO space, we operate a lot in. There's a lot of compliance requirements, and having this level of detail of seeing what people have actually done and interacted with the system is a really valuable tool in that space. So I've rushed through that super quick, Neil. I hope it wasn't too quick, but I just wanted to make sure there's plenty of time for questions and answers. But hopefully that gives a good overview of the capabilities and what the offering looks like at this stage.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Andrew. We were just sort of busy in the background there answering some of the amazing questions that were coming through. One of the questions that I'll just sort of dive in and cover first is there was a couple of questions around, is this self-directed activity, meaning do you have to pay your staff members to do it? First of all, my answer, I'm going to caveat with check with your accountant and the NDIA on this. I don't want to be giving advice on that, but my understanding is that it would be paid training. So please take that into consideration, but please do your own research on that and don't take my direction on that. So I just wanted to put a bit of a disclaimer on that one. So
yeah, Neil, how a lot of our other clients manage that. There are some free content in the full LMS. We have over 1,000 courses that people can do self-directed in their own time. But that's the things that aren't necessarily linked to their compliance at work. If it's specific courses that are linked to your compliance, 99% of the time that's going to be paid training. But yeah, as Neil said, do get a financial opinion on that. We're not financial advisors. It's an example of how some of our other clients manage it. The nice to have, they can do in their own time. It's self-led. Anything compliance related is normally paid.
Awesome. And then there is a couple of questions around the access and whether there'll be a new profile that needs to be created. So this will be accessed through your ShiftCare web app. So as administrators, as owners of the ShiftCare web app, there will be a ShiftCare training module on the left-hand side, and then that will link through to what Andrew has showed you here, because it's quite comprehensive. It's not something that will live within the ShiftCare app at first, but it is linked. So essentially, you'll access it through the ShiftCare app. And then it will also integrate, so there will be a separate login that you will need for the ShiftCare training for the Cloud Assess side, but we will integrate. So people's certificates, the course results, they will feed back through into ShiftCare, into the document function. So you'll be able to see who is compliant, who is current with the required courses.
Yeah, just to add there, Neil. Yeah, you're right. So there'll be integration of users getting pushed in and results getting pulled out. And yeah, in the first instance, yes, there will be a separate login requirement for that, but the technical team will be working on that in the months ahead, such that we'll be looking to do a single sign-on situation so that there isn't a requirement for that. So in the first instance, it will be, but it's something that we'll be looking to streamline.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Andrew. There was a couple of other questions that I'm just going to go down here, and I might pass over to Lynley. A lot of the questions that were coming through were around, can we upload our own courses? Can we?
Yeah.
Is there additional content? So Lynley, I might pass over to you to talk about the full LMS.
Yeah, sure. Of course, in ShiftCare Learning, 1,000% you can upload. And 99% of our clients have their own content that they want to add. You have access to, as I said, over 1,000 free courses, but we work with all of our clients on their own specific customized content as well. So onboarding, induction, ongoing training. You can also take the free content and work with us to sort of, white label it. If you want to change a few sentences in there, you can. If you want to put your own logo on it, you can. You can put your own language into, use 80% of our content and put a few things specific to your business in that free content. So it's highly configurable. And that's probably the answer to a few of the other questions, that it's, yes, you can do those things in the full LMS, because Cloud Assess or ShiftCare Learning, I should call it, sorry, is very configurable to your business. And we work with that design and configuration with you in the onboarding process.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Lynley. That sort of hopefully that answered. There was quite a few questions around the like your own content and being able to do that sort of customization. If Lynley or we haven't answered any of your specific questions, please ask them, so we've got a bit more time to go through and answer some more questions. I'm just going through the questions here. can you select employees to complete the training, or do you have to pay for all staff linked to ShiftCare? No, you can select the employees. So just a note on that, with a lot of the compliance courses, it's a responsibility of everyone within the organization to complete those, not just frontline workers. So that's just an important thing to know. But yes, you can select to invite certain employees to do it. So because it's a paid service, obviously we have our free 3 courses that everyone should jump in and do, but the ShiftCare training is $24 a user per year. So not a great deal of money, but it is still a paid service, so you can select the people that need to be completed. So if you have maybe external, like a payroll provider that's in there that doesn't need to do the courses, etc., you can leave those out of them. And I just saw Travis has just posted a tip in the chat there, talking about when a client cancels a shift and you've got to pay the staff member anyway. That's a really good bit of advice. Again, please seek your own financial counsel on that. Put a bit of a disclaimer on there, but that's some great advice. Thanks very much, Travis. Awesome questions coming through. Can we create our own training? And there's Lynley, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Can we create our training? So we know yes is the question there. And if so, at what cost?
So in terms of the LMS, we price the LMS on a per employee per month model, similar to ShiftCare. So the design of the content, if you like, is covered in that fee. So we would, and that's based on how many employees you have. So in that license fee, you get an account manager who will also be your customer success person, and they will work with you in terms of your own content and that sort of thing that's included in that fee. So it's a bit of a roundabout answer. I think the thing is if you want to have a chat specifically to your business, please do click the learning thing in the form, and I'm more than happy to jump on a call with you and I can take you through the pricing structure and how it works. But the great thing about ShiftCare Learning is that most of it is just covered in that per employee per month fee.
And it's also worth mentioning, to add to that this is all billed through your ShiftCare subscription. So it'll all be billed and managed through the in-app ShiftCare subscription, and all very, very cost effective. So
yeah, and I think there's another one on cost. There is no upfront fee for ShiftCare Academy or training. So in learning, it may be if you've got 10,000 courses and you've got 50,000 people that we've got to do specific configurations for, there might be a small fee for implementation, but that's in terms of training and academy, there's no upfront fee. The training is definitely just the 24 per employee per annum. So it works out about $2 per employee per month.
yeah. There was a question in there around, will the training include using ShiftCare, which is a great question. Thanks very much for asking that, Valeria. At the moment, no. ShiftCare has our YouTube Learning Center, which I'll share with the webinar link, and we'll continue to load information in there. But that doesn't mean that you can't do that as part of the full LMS, and B, it's also something that we're talking about internally about whether we incorporate the actual platform training into the LMS as well. If we did go down that path, then that would be included as part of just the standard ShiftCare subscription. So, but great question. Thanks very much for asking that. Lynley, I'll pass this one to you. Is there a way we can integrate prior learning, which was completed on a different platform? Lynley, just before I pass that one to you, if we are talking about just the certificate, just to say, hey, I have completed that certificate, you can do that today in ShiftCare. So that's you take those certificates and you just load them into your ShiftCare account. I assume the question is if we have created content on other platforms, can it be incorporated? So Lynley, I'll pass that over to you.
Yeah, of course, it can be exported from other platforms and uploaded into ShiftCare Learning. So yeah, that's no problem. We do that with majority of our clients.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Will the login be the same for ShiftCare platform, or will staff need you login? We sort of covered this. At first, it'll be you'll invite them from ShiftCare, but they will create a new login, and we will eventually move to a single sign-on. So you'll just log in with your ShiftCare login. So, there's a couple more questions at the top. When I create a new profile, we've already answered that one. When a staff member does a course, will their integration, we've already answered that one. Will a support worker receive a certificate or just badges? Well, Lynley, I'll pass this over to you, but they're one and the same. Do you want to talk about the open badges?
Andrew might be better off to answer that badges question.
Yeah, sure. So we have I didn't show you in the interface, but the next menu item down within Cloud Assess was certificates. So for this ShiftCare Academy and training, there is the badges that we've demonstrated there, but we also do certificates within Cloud Assess. So within the ShiftCare Learning offering, the certificates there that will be more formal looking certificates that you might be expecting, with the details of qualifications, what was achieved, signature from who is the authorizing person within the organization, along with QR codes that can be scanned to direct people to verify that certificate. So that's all available within the ShiftCare Learning offering.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Andrew.
The next probably for me, Neil, from Amelia. So thanks, Amelia, for that question. The answer is yes. And it's fantastic with ShiftCare Learning that it's highly configurable, as I've said, and we can do all sorts of automation. So we can customize it with any sort of notification, deadline. You can kick them out of the system. You can give them notification that they've got a week to go to complete this training and they need to do it by this date. So we do that configuration with you in the onboarding. And when we set up the content for you, we can put all of those sorts of designs and timeframes and notifications into each one of the training modules.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So we've done that one, that one. So actually a great question from Jean. So what Andrew just demonstrated, is that ShiftCare Academy or ShiftCare Training or both? So ShiftCare Training is what Andrew has demonstrated. So that's the core module, which is going to be the main ShiftCare Training function. ShiftCare Academy is what we are calling the publicly available courses. So that's what we're providing to the industry as a whole at no cost. They will just be available through the ShiftCare marketing website, shiftcare.com. ShiftCare Training is what Andrew has demonstrated. And then what Lynley has been talking about, ShiftCare Learning, is the full LMS. That's where we can do custom content, and essentially the world is the limit is your imagination from that side. So ShiftCare Academy are the free courses. ShiftCare Training is what we've demonstrated here. And then ShiftCare Learning is the full LMS, which is tailored to your requirements. So
yeah, I'll just jump in just to the learner experience that you saw on the right-hand side, which was actually going into the course. That's what the learner would see in the shift in all offerings. So the academy, the training, the learning. So that's unchanged. The left-hand side, yes, that was the training that we demonstrated. The learning is just with a lot more menu options that have been switched off. So it looks the same. The menu structure is the same. There's just a lot of things switched off in that demo from learning to training.
I think, Neil, just so for this group, the reason we didn't show you the full LMS today is that that can take over an hour just in itself. It's quite a big tool. So the idea today was for us to tell you that you now have access to all of these amazing things. And if you tick that you're interested in learning, we are going to do more of an in-depth demo on ShiftCare Learning in the coming weeks. So we'll make sure that you're spoken to by someone about it, but also that you're invited to the demo about ShiftCare Learning.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Lynley. So we've answered that one. This is a good question. So when an employee leaves the company and they are archived in ShiftCare, does their access end automatically? I'm going to go with the answer to that is yes, because it is a paid subscription. But Lynley, I might pass that over to you. Sorry.
Yeah, so the way we work is it's active seats. So if they're no longer active, then their subscription is no longer active based on your configuration of that. They will still have access individually to their certificates and their badges and things like that. But obviously, if they don't work for you anymore, that seat then becomes available for someone else to then use in the subscription model. So you would set up your own security that, you know, we log people out of systems within 30 seconds, I think, Andrew, at Cloud Access, you know, so we make sure, you know, that's our security policy. You would have your own, so you would follow that in terms of how they're kicked out of the system. But yeah, they would have access to badges and prior training, and you will have access to all of their training for your audit requirements or your reporting requirements. But yeah, you would no longer be paying for them, and you would definitely not give them access to the system anymore.
Yeah, that comes back to where we briefly showed you the activating the enrollments and the users. So if you can have inactive enrollments and users in there, but you can keep that data for as long as you want to keep it for. So if they've left, you've got the full history and all those details.
Awesome. There's a question in there, is the expiration yearly?
Well, you can have 3-year contracts if you like. It's really up to you, but the minimum term is 12 months for ShiftCare Learning. So we do have some clients that have 12, 24, 36 months, but it's really up to you. But the minimum term is 12 months, yes.
Thanks, Lynley. And the question was just, is the expiration yearly? Sharon asked that question. It might be the course, the certificate validation. I'm assuming they are yearly, but can we do different, like if a course needs to be done every 3 months, can we adjust that?
Yeah, so within the content, you can set expiry dates on particular modules. So that could be this particular module has a validity period of 3 years. This one has 1. This one has 6 months. So that then there's workflows that can trigger off that once those expiries hit, then those competencies within those matrix that you saw would then be taken away, so that you can then see an up-to-date view of what the current competencies are.
Awesome, thank you.
I think there's a good one there that we should clear up very quickly from a lovely anonymous attendee who's called me out, and I appreciate it, using slang and term that we do in tech. So a LMS is a learning management system. So it's basically the platform that you use to push your learning materials out, and thank you for pulling me up on that. So I hope that helps everyone else in the crowd that was probably thinking, what's she talking about? So yeah, learning management system.
Yeah, great question, and thank you very much for asking that, anonymous attendee. So, Lisa asks, are we able to see a full list of the training courses available? 100% we can. We'll actually send that out when we send out the recording of the video as well. So here's a question here. Can the feature be added to the ShiftCare app for staff to access the YouTube links they need on how to use their ShiftCare app on the actual app? So that's a question for us, and it's a great question, actually. It's a feature request outside of this. So we'll take note of that, but that is a great piece of feedback. So thank you very much. as an admin, would I be able to download the staff badge certificate to store in our staff files? Yes, you will, but you should also, that document will, or that accessibility will also live in the staff document section on ShiftCare. So you don't need to download it and store it offline. You can store that and other files based on your staff in ShiftCare. So you've got that record, it's cloud-based, so all the information is stored securely here in Australia, and there's no risk of, if it's stored locally on a computer and that computer breaking, losing any of that information. So both these documents that we're talking about now and any document that relates to the relationship you have with your staff, and obviously the same can be said for clients as well. Oh, we've got some great questions coming in. I'm just trying to keep up with them. Will these courses learnings be accredited and transferable between jobs? Lynley, I'll ask the first part of that, the accredited side, and then the between jobs we can answer together.
Yeah, I think that it will depend on what that certification compliance requirement is. In terms of the system, everything's transferable. I think in terms of the course, if they need to redo it, they can access when they've done it last, when it expires, that sort of thing. So think of the technology that it can enable anything you need in terms of access and that sort of thing. It will just depend on the compliance requirement of how often that course needs to be completed.
Yeah, and it does come down to the content and what sort of courses you're offering as well. So yeah, if there's accredited training that is by the national framework, those certificates, like if we said, you'd get issued a certificate for that within our system, which they have forever, and they can then provide that to their next employer or various people as a evidence of prior learning. But yeah, it will really depend upon what course it is. Some of it, if they're one-off courses, you're doing it something quite internal to you that's not nationally recognized, then it's less transferable. But from a technology perspective, yes, but maybe not so from an actual course perspective.
Thanks, Andrew. And there's a couple of questions in there about Certificate 3. So Lynley, as part of the full LMS, can we get into Certificate 3, Certificate 4 sort of higher education courses?
So yes, we can upload the. Andrew, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can answer that. So for those, so we are not an RTO. We are a platform provider. So within those spaces that offer in the RTO space that offer certificates and diplomas, they're offered by registered training organisations, RTOs. See how I did the acronym first, Lynley?
Yeah, well done.
Yeah. So that's their bread and butter. That's what their business is for. So they are all across the compliance requirements and the delivery of that. They get audited for those as part of the national framework. So any certificates, diplomas that are official by the national framework need to be delivered by a registered training organisation. The majority of our customers are RTOs. So they use our platform to do the training, to deliver the diplomas and certificates and issue the certificates, but they are responsible and legally responsible for the delivery of the training, the quality of the training, and the outcomes of the student. So we are not in a position ourselves to say, here is a course, it's a Cert 3, it's in the library, go for it. It needs an accrediting body such as an RTO to do that for you.
Excellent answer. Thanks very much, Andrew. I just want to, this is a question that's been asked a couple of times. I just want to repeat the answer. So are the training courses free for a premium user, so ShiftCare premium user, or we need to pay depending on the number of staff we have? And could I ask the cost? Yes, you can. It is paid on any level. So it's an additional cost, so $24 per annum, so per year, per user, which works out to be $2 per month. But that is an additional cost. So you do pay that on whichever plan that you're on. It's not included in the premium offering. And then what Lynley has talked about, which is the full ShiftCare version, there's an additional cost for that. But reach out to Lynley through the form that we're going to send out, and they can have a conversation with you about that. I'm just conscious of time. There is a couple more questions that I want to get in there, but any of these questions that we haven't answered, we will go through together after the webinar to cover off and make sure that we get those answers out to everyone. So please, if we haven't answered your question, we'll make sure that we get that out to you. Do we need to sign up for Cloud Assess separately in order to access ShiftCare after launch? You'll need to be invited to access that because it's obviously a paid solution. So you will need to be invited to that. So you will need to create a login, but that'll happen from your ShiftCare account. There was one other question in here that was good. Do you get a badge for every course? Yes, you do. Will staff get prompts or reminders when their courses are due to expire? Lynley, Andrew, I'll pass that one over to you.
Sorry, which one were we looking at the expiry date?
Yes, yep.
Is this the notification to the admins?
To admins and to staff.
Yes, the answer is yes. So the configuration of all of this is part of the onboarding process. So we set it up. There's always, however you want to configure it in terms of notifications, it's up to you. But yes, there would be a notification of expiration.
Yep.
So within the full platform, we have workflows, so that, as Lynley said, fully configurable. So you can define on these different events. It might be someone has a due date coming up, or they've missed a due date, or they haven't been in the platform for a while, or they've submitted a record. So various different events, and off those events, you can then define what you want to do when that event happens. So it might be, I want to send an email to admin or to the learner, or I want to perform some other action.
Awesome. A good question in there, and probably one for Andrew to ask. Do the documents, i.e. the certificates and badges, integrate with Employment Hero?
Sorry, go Andrew.
No, you go.
We are building integrations with Employment Hero at the moment. So I think that'll depend on that work that's coming in the next few months, unless you know more about that, Andrew. But I actually was meeting with Employment Hero yesterday, so we've got various integrations in the work with them.
Yeah, I was going to say similar. So the Employment Hero, there's a few other HRIS platforms that we're looking to be building further integrations with in the coming months. So yeah, stay tuned for that.
Yeah. Amelia's asked a question, which is good to cover off again. Will staff be able to access ShiftCare training from the ShiftCare app? Will the feature be added to the app? So it won't be added at first to the mobile app, but it is very mobile friendly. It's been designed to be used on a mobile, so they'll be able to access it from their browser. So on their mobile.
Yeah, I'll just add a bit of color to that. Just so where our product came from 13 years ago is that we haven't come from a traditional LMS background. We primarily focused on people that are skill-based frontline worker organizations where people are out in the field on various sites. They're not sat at a desk like us with a big monitor. So from the beginning, the platform's always been built such that it can be accessed nicely on smaller devices by learners out in the field.
Awesome. Thank you very much, and great question. There's a huge number of attendees that we have here who are existing ShiftCare users, but I just saw a question from Esther. What's the process for joining ShiftCare? Is there a free trial available to new users? Yes, 100% there is. If you go to shiftcare.com, top right-hand corner, click on try for free. That is not a trial that you're using. It's a real version of ShiftCare. We just give you full access for the first 7 days. Any information you enter, any details, you can follow the sort of tutorial to get started. And depending on the size of your organization and the complexities, you could essentially start now and be using it by the end of the day. But please reach out to the sales team and they'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you have or give you any guidance. And obviously that goes for everyone on here as well. just quickly check some of the last questions. I know we haven't gotten to all of them. I think some of them we've covered off already, and we will make sure that we go through and check all of these and make sure that all of the answers have been completed. Please fill in your interest in the form that we have just posted in the channel, and we'll also email to everyone that's attended and registered. This will be live by the end of April, but we want to speak with everyone beforehand that's interested so that we can go into more details and answer questions that are specifically relating to your organisation. The ShiftCare training, which is what we show here now, is obviously going to be super effective and really valuable, but also what Lynley and Andrew are offering in the full LMS is really going to be beneficial. And we want to make sure that we're speaking to everyone, answering all their questions and showing you how valuable this can be. So please take time to fill in that form, and we'll be speaking to everyone over the next couple of weeks. We'll probably wrap it up there. Just give me a quick check through for the last questions. No, it looks like that's all it. Excellent. I just want to take time to thank everyone for joining. We really appreciate it. It was a great turnout. It was a lot of people here because I know that this is a hot topic that we're covering off. And thank you so much to Andrew and Lynn for everything that's going to come in the future.
We're going on and off recording.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks so much, everyone. Really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll talk to everyone soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
See you. Bye.